So yesterday I got onto Twitter to scroll to see if there is something interesting to be seen, since Facebook uses that system that just shows me clickbait sort of shit I don't want to see anymore, or didn't want to see anything of it. So one of the first post I saw was a post that someone retweeted. I don't remember who, but it was a post from the UNESCO, and not sure if it is really UNESCO, but let me just check. United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. So it is the UNESCO, but yes. And the post was from the UNESCO page, and it writes, I will read it now. Disasters such as droughts, floods, and storms kill more women than men due to structural gender inequalities. Now everybody knows that the United Nations is a parody of some sort. Because you can't write shit like this and still expect to be seriously taken by normal people. So yeah, I saw it. It reminded me of a comment a YouTuber said a while ago. I forgot his name, but in all essence he said, if the world ended, the news would say world ended, women most affected. So when I saw this, it actually reminded me of that particular sentence, and got me thinking, since we had floods last year here in Serbia, and most of those who were killed then were men, be the rescuers of the fire department or whatever, or just people who stayed behind to guard their apartments or whatever. Most of the women who died were old women, like 70 plus years or 80 plus years, who A, didn't want to go, or B, couldn't really go because they were so old that running wasn't really an option for them. And it got me thinking, how much of an idiot do you need to be to write something like this and expect anyone else to seriously come to the conclusion to say, oh yeah, that's right, women are more killed because floods are gender-based, and wants to target women more than men because feminism. You know, it is really moronic. When I saw it, I couldn't believe my eyes, because very often I do see stupidity, but stupidity like this, it's not that often that you can see it. I will try to link it in the description, but I really... Okay. There is a response from the United Nations which says, disasters lower women's life expectancy more than men's, according to data from 141 countries affected between 1981 and 2002. Okay, maybe I do like statistics, but this is really something I can't really check at this point, because first of all I don't have the nerves to do it, as in I don't want to be irritated more than I am in this moment. Second of all, I don't really know what to look for. Second point, they say women, boys and girls are 14 times more likely than men to die during a disaster. That is true, but it doesn't have anything to do with the point they made in the first place, since women and kids are the first ones being saved when there is a disaster. So yes, they are 14 times more likely to die, but they are 100 times more likely to be saved first, if there is something to happen. You know, when a ship sinks, you first get women and children off, then you try to salvage the ship or whatever. Third point they made, the United Nations, was Most of the victims trapped in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina were African American women and their children, the poorest demographic group in that part of the country. I don't want to sound racist and or sexist at the same time, but most of them were trapped because there wasn't a father in the house. I believe, I don't want to be racist, but you know, it's very hard to point and not be racist at the same time with stuff like that. But that may be true, then probably is, but there is much more at stake there, and much more of it is interconnected with a lot of our other stuff, that black men are more in jail and than everything else, and so on and so on. I don't want to address it in this video. And the fourth fact the UN said is, following the disaster, it is more likely the women will be the victims of domestic and sexual violence. Many even avoid using shelters for fear of being sexually assaulted. I don't really know what kind of natural disaster forces you to rape your wife after it, because you know, I was a refugee in 1990s, and we were trying to save our heads on our shoulders. You know, I don't think a lot of people who ran from Kosovo in the 1990s really thought about raping their wives as they ran. But then again, it is just my sense. It doesn't necessarily mean that I know what I'm talking about, because I'm not trying to push a narrative here. And you know, moving on, I don't really know what to say, you know, because most of the time you see stupidity like this, you are like, it's probably low-tier feminist, I will say, you know, people that not much people know about, and pretty much don't care what they have to say. But this is from the United Nations, you know. Even though I'm not a fan of the United Nations and everything, because all social justice warrior and everything, they are still a pretty influential institution in this world, and they do not that political, they don't do that much political power in itself, because you really need someone who is part of the UN to do something. Still, you know, it is a respect nonetheless, not maybe for me, but for in general they are a respected institution, and for them to write something like some idiotism like this, for me, is very shocking. It would be the same as you having a white racist member of the KKK saying, "Oh yeah, black people are more superior than white people," you know, because of reasons. I really don't know what to say. All in all, if you see stupidity like this, I would be inclined for you to not report, but just state your opinion. You know, when you see stupidity, state that you don't agree with stupidity. And this is one of those ways. I'm just scrolling through the comments right now. Most of the comments are really, you know, trollish in nature, most of them, you know. Let me find something interesting. I just scrolled past one. Was mental retardation a requirement for your position? You know, most of the trolls people are, you know, opposing idiotism, but scrolling through the comments you will get it. I will post it in the comments, don't worry. Just don't go this much retard. No, never go full retard. Thank you, and if you found it funny, share it.